Greetings nerdlings and welcome to AmalgamNation presents World of Lorecraft, Herocraft, Turalyon edition. Turalyon was handpicked as one of the first Knights of the Silver Hand by Alonsus Fowl. He, along with his mentor Uther the Lightbringer and the other knights Tyrion Fordring, Saidan Datrahan and Gavinrad the Dire, were tasked with assisting Lord Anduin Lothar and Khadgar in organising the defence of Lordaeron against the advancing horde. Lothar chose Turalyon as his lieutenant, a decision that made an already uncertain Turalyon question his worth even more. The young Turalyon developed a rapport with Khadgar, who despite his aged appearance was roughly the same age as the paladin. Turalyon was also introduced to Illyria Windrunner, the leader of a cadre of rangers who had been sent to assess the situation by the Council of Silvermoon. A mutual attraction formed between Turalyon and Illyria, one that would bloom into a full-fledged relationship. Turalyon fought at Lothar's side for the first skirmishes at Hillsbrad and South Shore. After forcing the horde from their initial beach landing, the Alliance forces followed the horde northeast to the mountain pass leading to the Wildhammer Dwarves' Keep of Airy Peak. Unknown to the trailing Alliance forces, the horde's goal was not the dwarven stronghold there. It was merely a feint to lure the bulk of their pursuers into a cat-and-mouse diversion in the mountains and forests of the hinterlands, while the main body of the horde marched on the elven homeland of Quel'Thalas. From this location, the horde could launch an assault on either Silvermoon or Stromgarde. Lothar sent Turalyon, Khadgar and Illyria to intercept the horde before Quel'Thalas burned. Turalyon led his forces east and then north through the pass, now known as Plague Mist Ravine, but they were too late. The horde had already seized Cair Darrow, taken the Rune Stone and moved further east into the forest surrounding Stratholme. The horde proceeded to decimate Stratholme, as well as the outlying town of Tyr's Hand, before moving north and setting fire to Eversong Forest in southern Quel'Thalas. The Allied forces managed to halt the horde's advance into inner Quel'Thalas, but at the cost of many lives and a sizable portion of the Eversong Forest being destroyed. A distraught Illyria sought comfort in Turalyon's arms. However, the brutal assault on their home convinced the elves to throw their full support behind the alliance, and when Turalyon left Quel'Thalas, it was at the head of an elven armada. They arrived at the capital city after passing through the mountainous region of Alterac, just in time to turn back Doomhammer's siege, and then chase the orcs back to the beaches of South Shore. Turalyon and his comrades rejoined the rest of the Alliance army at the liberation of Ironforge, forcing the horde to retreat to Blackrock Spire itself. The battle proved to be devastating for both sides. In the midst of the battle, he saw his commander engaging the Orc warchief Doomhammer himself. Seeing the Orc having the upper hand, Turalyon fought his way to Lothar's aid, but he was continuously barred by Orc warriors, and he could do nothing more than watch as Doomhammer brought his hammer on Lothar's helm. Pushing anything in his way, Turalyon went to the body of his hero, tears flowing as the warchief laughed and cried victory. Overcome with grief and anger, the paladin grabbed the lion's shattered sword and rallied the Alliance forces with the fierce cry, "For Sir Lothar!" that struck fear into the hearts of even the most bloodthirsty orcs. The frenzied Alliance army attacked the demoralized orcs. In the midst of his anger, Turalyon almost killed Doomhammer, but eventually spared his life. The battle lost, the horde retreated to their last bastion, the Dark Portal. Turalyon gave chase, driving the orcs through the portal itself, which Khadgar immediately destroyed, seemingly ending the horde menace and allowing the humans to rebuild. Only a few years later, General Turalyon was handpicked by King Tyrannus Menethil II to lead an expeditionary force, also nicknamed the Sons of Lothar, through the reformed Dark Portal and into Draenor. There it was discovered that Ner'zhul, with the aid of Deathwing, was planning to use a number of powerful artifacts to open more portals, allowing the horde to escape and plunder other worlds. Upon arriving, Turalyon renewed his relationship with Illyria Windrunner and laid siege to the Hellfire Citadel. Unfortunately, Ner'zhul had already escaped. While they were determined to go after the Mad Shaman and the Skull of Gul'dan, Deathwing was in a different direction. The skull was needed to close the portal, so the Alliance forces split up. Khadgar, Turalyon and Illyria going after the Black Dragon, while Danath, Trollbane, Illyria's Rangers and the Wildhammer dwarves followed Ner'zhul. Turalyon's group encountered a Grunn and Ogres on the way and agreed to aid in their assault on Deathwing. After a fierce battle against the Black Dragonflight, they managed to gain the Skull and rejoin Danath's forces in a final attempt to lay siege on the Black Temple. However, the Alliance forces ultimately failed to stop Ner'zhul from opening and escaping into his portals, and the subsequent chaotic energy the portals released began to destroy the planet. Rather than risk Azeroth being damaged by Draenor's destruction, the brave paladin selflessly assisted Archmage Khadgar in destroying the Dark Portal on Draenor. As Draenor tore apart around him, Turalyon led the forces of the Alliance expedition that were with him through a portal to yet another world, one they could barely make sense of. After the set of cataclysmic events that changed Draenor into Outland were over, Turalyon, Illyria, Khadgar, Danath, and the other Alliance troops all returned to Draenor. After briefly surveying the damage, Turalyon led his friends back to Honorhold, which had remained standing despite the chaos that created Outland. However, although many of his friends do, Turalyon as well as Illyria do not appear anywhere in Outland, making his current whereabouts unknown, despite Tegol telling us that all of the people depicted in the statues in the Valley of Heroes would be seen in the Burning Crusade expansion. His immortalized statue is in the Valley of Heroes in Stormwind, alongside the other leaders of the Alliance expedition. The broken sword in his hand is most likely Lothar's, as he took up the shattered blade in combat against the Horde when Lothar fell. Turalyon and Illyria Windrunner appear in-game, not as statues, at the homeworld of Erdar, or Argus, in patch 7.3. Turalyon has the full title of High Exarch Turalyon and is leading the assault by the Army of the Light. In the Paladin Order Hall final quest, the Holy Natrazim Lotraxian talks about how Turalyon sent him to help defend Netherlight Temple. Turalyon's personality. Turalyon is a kind and gentle soul who only wishes the world to be at peace. His innocent and understanding personality allow him to see through people for who they truly are. An example would be his friendship with Khadgar, as wizards were often discriminated against by holy orders. He has no special hatred for his enemies either, and is very merciful. He refused to kill Doomhammer, even when the warchief killed Lothar, whom Turalyon admired very much. However, when innocent lives were threatened, Turalyon's passive nature changed to that of a determined avenger willing to do what was necessary, setting aside his own well-being and putting the lives of the endangered as the top priority. It was these traits that drew Illyria Windrunner to fall in love with him. During his time under Lothar and for a time afterwards, Turalyon would often doubt his own abilities as a leader, feeling that Lothar could do things better. Most notably was when the Alliance army was driven from Quell to Lass. He blamed himself for the defeat, even though the cause of the defeat came from the Red Dragons enslaved by the Horde, creatures that neither he nor anyone in the Alliance had any means of stopping. Thank you for watching, and as always remember, play to game and game to play.